The Advanced British Standard, a huge missed opportunity. On 30 August FE News reported on a survey, carried out in the US by Business Name Generator, the key finding of which was that 84% of employees and managers believe new employees must possess soft skills and demonstrate this in the hiring process. Soft skills such as communication, problem solving, critical thinking, self-motivation, flexibility, creativity and leadership. Alas, it appears that this survey, and the many other reports published over the last few years stressing the importance of soft skills, have not been noticed by the government. As we all know, at the Tory Party Conference in Manchester on 4 October, Prime Minister Sunak announced a flagship reform programme for education, with the speech's soundbites supported by a 39-page report entitled, A World-Class Education System, the Advanced British Standard. To quote the report, "This is a long-term reform. It will take a decade to deliver in full." A decade? Well, it's not every day that the government announces a long-term reform of education, and since even the government's estimate is that the reform will take a decade to implement, government estimate, the reform must be profound indeed. What does the reform look like? What are the intended outcomes? Page 36 of the government's report provides the answers. The outcome is that 16 to 18-year-olds will no longer study typically 3 A-levels or 1 T-level, but 3 majors, and either 2 or 3 minors, with a condition that English and maths must be included in the mix. You might expect that the 39-page report would contain much more detail than the Prime Minister's announcement. So prepare for a disappointment. 1 page is the contents, 3 are Gillian Keegan's foreword, and a further 5, the executive summary. That takes us to page 10, the first of a further 9 pages that celebrate the Tory government's educational achievements since Michael Gove took over as Secretary of State in 2010. So it's not until page 20 that we learn about the reforms themselves, and although the remaining 19 pages are about the proposals, there is much repetition and very little detail beyond the key headlines. Page 21. We will deliver genuine parity of esteem between technical and academic routes, as achieved by the replacement of the 2 qualification streams, A-levels and T-levels, by the single Advanced British Standard. We will increase in-quality teaching time, explained as, we need to do more to increase students' access to and time with high-quality teachers, which is, I'm sure, a good thing to do, but is phrased as if it was somehow the fault of the students, who, by inference, need to be encouraged and cajoled to attend classes. We have to wait until page 32 to read, this will be achieved by more funded teaching hours. So the issue is nothing to do with students. It's about the failure of the government to have provided sufficient funds in the past. We will embed a core of essential knowledge, this being code for, all 16 to 18 students must do maths and English. We will ensure everyone studies a greater breadth of subjects, as depicted in the diagram. In addition, there are commitments to invest in teacher recruitment and retention by giving those who teach key shortage subjects a payment of up to £6,000, tax-free per year, if they are in the first 5 years of their career. Invest an additional £150 million each year to support those who do not pass maths and English GCSE at 16 to gain these qualifications. Invest an additional £40 million in the Education Endowment Foundation. Turbocharge the best, evidence-based techniques for maths teaching, by investing £60 million of additional funding for maths education over the next 2 years. That's my summary of what's in the report. What about the curriculum? But to me, much more important is what's not in the report. Take, for example, the word curriculum. My word search identified 12 matches. 2 of these refer to the current curriculum in England, and 1 to curricula elsewhere. The other 9 are associated with the proposed curriculum of the future, all associated with the adjectives, broad, or balanced, and, most frequently, knowledge-rich, a term described in detail in a full-page explanation written by Nick Gibb. That page, 15, is well worth reading, for it sets the tone of the entire reform program, most vividly in the first paragraph. It is very difficult to teach generic, transferable skills, and most are based on key knowledge. For example, it is possible to learn scientific methods in the abstract, but a successful scientist has to know what an anomalous result in their field looks like, which relies on deep knowledge. My understanding of those words is that generic, transferable skills are exactly those soft skills most valued by employers. Yes, some of them are knowledge-based, You can't solve the problem of how much carpet to buy if you don't know how to measure the area of the floor. But that first statement, that it is very difficult to teach, makes me see red, for not only is this the excuse for ignoring those oh so important soft skills completely in the proposed reforms, but it is also, I believe, profoundly untrue. The soft skill of communication, or, to my mind, oracy, is the most natural skill to nurture, for every human being is endowed with the twin capabilities of thought and speech. The soft skill of creativity is very easy to teach if done in a thoughtful way. The soft skills of flexibility and leadership emerge as individuals gain experience of working in teams and learn the value of responding to other people in a positive and constructive way. So, having dismissed generic, transferable skills as unteachable, the role of the school is to foster deep knowledge. What a missed opportunity! Rather than proposing a reform of the curriculum, which would have real and lasting positive impact, the government's big announcement proposes what is in essence merely a change in the structure of the timetable, along with some much-needed enhancements to funding. Not only have the government not noticed the soft skills survey, they have ignored the key findings of the Times Education Commission, Rethinking Assessment, New Era Assessment and the many other studies stressing the importance of fundamental reform to what students are taught, and how they are assessed. Most importantly, there is no reference to the Scottish Government's document In Our Future, published in June 2023, and to my mind a far more powerful proposition. Oh dear. And there's much else that's missing too. No mention of the reform, let alone scrapping, of GCSEs, save for the opportunity to look at further improvements we can make to the examinations that benefit both pupils and teachers, with the caveat that any change to GCSEs will protect the principle that rigorous teaching and externally assessed examinations are the best and fairest way to ensure children learn and retain knowledge. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. It's all about filling the jug. Grades will continue to be unreliable. Nor is there any mention of the continuing unreliability of exam grades. On 2 September 2020, Ofqual's then chief regulator, Dame Glenys Stacey, testified before the Education Select Committee that exam grades are reliable to one grade either way, implying that a certificate showing a level geography, grade B, really means maybe the grade you merit is a B but perhaps it's a C or even an A. Nobody knows. Nor can anyone ever find out, for this happens even when there are no marking errors. Surely that really means failures in the quality control of exam boards. As a consequence, this ambiguity cannot be resolved by a review of marking. What use are grades, reliable to one grade either way? Unreliable grades do great damage, yet the problem is very easy to fix. So, in 10 years' time, when students are no longer taking the gold standard of A-levels, but the rather more downbeat, advanced British standard, or should that be English, the resulting grades are still likely to be only reliable to one grade either way. Tragic. By Dennis Sherwood, campaigner for the delivery of reliable and trustworthy school exam grades.